Hello. In my opening remarks yesterday, I had shared the advice that Dr. Richard Cook from the Safety Culture gave this community. He had mentioned that there are certain types of stories that you will not hear on stage. Instead, you hear them after the conference, maybe after a few drinks, and underscore that great practice comes from experience, but experience comes from bad practice. And that is what results in this DevOps confession format. My thanks to Cornelia Davis, who shared a confession yesterday, and for today's confession, it will be me reading it to you. And so my thanks to the person who spent so much time writing this up so that I may perform it for you today. It begins. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Maybe my days here are coming to an end. These are the thoughts I was thinking after years of frustration, unproductive conflict, and feeling sidelined. And what was so difficult for me to believe was that this was the company I had started, and I felt like I couldn't change anything. I was stuck. This shouldn't be happening to me. This shouldn't be how it ends for me. This was my damn company. In the early days, I felt like I could make a difference, like I had room to run, get things done. When I had an idea or made a decision, I could make it happen. But not anymore. We had gone through a lot of organizational changes in the last 5 years. We started with a business with more of a general manager model, which gave people like me a lot of autonomy and a broad span of control. However, in recent years, we had moved towards more specialized roles with narrower areas of accountability. It seemed like a good idea as we grow, allowed people to focus and become experts. What we didn't realize was the need for integration and alignment with the team and the impact of not having it, because now nothing could get done. We operated in silos and in stovepipes. Collaboration was low, friction was high, and the results in our business showed it. Eventually, I realized that not only do we not have the right integration alignment that we needed, but the reason we were missing them was because the values and the vision that I had weren't shared by the other senior leaders that I needed to work with. I eventually realized that not only did we not have the integration and the alignment we needed, but the reason we were missing them was because the values and vision that I had weren't shared by the other leaders I needed to work with. I remember describing the situation to a close group of colleagues, outside the company of course, and asking them for advice. I asked, what do you do when you feel like you can't get anything done and you realize you don't share the same values with the people you work with? I don't feel like I can leave, and I don't know if I can stay either. As I expected, there weren't any easy or obvious answers. All of this was having an effect on my team too. They knew what I believed and the values that I had. They had the same ones, which is why they were on my team. They saw and felt the friction and the conflict with the rest of the company too. The effect on them weighed heavily on me. We tried some things within our team to work the way that we wanted, creating a small culture bubble around us. It helped a little because at least we were trying to make things better for us and hoping that our better ways of working would rub off on others. But in a way, it made things worse because it just put a spotlight on the fact that we were different and had limited influence on others to change. At the low point, I took the Maslach burnout inventory. It told me I matched their burnout profile. That's a profile you really don't want. I was high on exhaustion, high on cynicism, and low on professional efficacy. That's not a great combination for feeling engaged at work, and it was not actually a surprise at that point. After having conversations with others I trusted, taking the MBI, doing a lot of thinking and soul searching, I finally decided that something needed to change. I couldn't tolerate the status quo anymore. It wasn't good for me, it wasn't good for my team, and it certainly wasn't good for the company. So a few weeks later, I shared my perspective at a strategic planning meeting with the other senior leaders. After a lot of preparation, I was able to tell them I believed that the company was at a crossroads. I told them I believed we had different values and visions for the company that were fundamentally incompatible with one another. It wasn't that one or the other were necessarily right or wrong, or that one was better or worse. They were just different. We could go down one path and we could be successful, and plenty of other companies have shown that that's a valid strategy. Or we could go down the other path, and plenty of other companies have shown that's a valid strategy too, but we can't pursue both at the same time, and that's what we've been doing for the last several years. Either way, I was personally not willing to live with the status quo anymore, and that we all needed to choose. And if we decide to go down one path, then I will opt out of that because I don't know how to be successful down that path, and honestly, it's one that doesn't excite me to go down. However, if we go down the other path, then I do believe and I know how we can be successful, and I will be so excited for that journey. but we needed to make a decision. Many months later, I had told a friend about that moment, and he said that it was a fearless conversation, and he was right. I didn't have any fear. I'd made my peace that I would be okay with either choice, and yet I certainly wanted one choice to be the one that everyone chose. I really hoped it would be that one, but I would be good either way. That conversation at that strategic planning meeting was a crucible moment. It set into motion a series of discussions and decisions that led to a lot of changes. Changes, I'm happy to say, that still have me working at the company and that have positioned the company for success in the future. And yet, not everyone at that strategic planning meeting can say the same. There were a lot of changes at the top, and the team of senior leaders looks very different today than it did then. Those changes took almost 1 year to implement and required a lot of personal perseverance. It was an emotionally draining experience over a long period of time. But it wasn't blind perseverance. We knew the direction we were going. We knew what our values were. It was a vision that we all believed in, and I was seeing progress towards it. And that made all the difference for me. Early into the process of making these changes, I had a conversation with someone at the company who asked me why they should stick it out, why they should stick around. I told them that 6 months ago things were bumpy and hard and difficult, and I didn't have any hope that things would actually change. However, now things were bumpy and hard and difficult, but I do have hope that things will change. I genuinely believed they would. The way I feel today is 180 degrees different than how I felt a year ago. I have more excitement, enthusiasm, and optimism for my job and the company's future prospects than I've had in years. I feel like I can make a difference again. And a big part of that is a team of senior leaders I work with now. There are some new faces who brought in with them new thinking and new perspectives, and values more in line with my own. In a recent interaction with one of my new colleagues, I had to ask them for some time from some of their people. And when I asked her, her first response